Welcome back to the Resolution Room, where we turn tension into transformation through clarity, connection, and consistency. I'm your host, Dr. Nashay Lowe, and this is a space where we explore what's really underneath the moments that challenge us and how they can lead to something more honest, more human, and more whole. So let's get into it. Have you ever caught a glimpse of yourself in a mirror, a photo, or even your own voice and felt like something didn't quite line up? This episode explores the quiet dissonance between who we used to be and who we've actually become. Not because we lack confidence, but because many of us are still seeing ourselves through outdated blueprints built by past experiences, old identities, or someone else's reflection of who we were. In the next 4 segments, we'll unpack how these inner mirrors get formed, how familiarity can fool us into mistaking it for the truth, and why even the most grounded among us sometimes carry versions of ourselves that no longer fit. This isn't about fixing your self-esteem. It's more about updating the picture and giving yourself permission to see who you are now with more clarity, alignment, and self-recognition. Segment 1. The dissonance of seeing yourself now through an outdated lens. Let's begin with the quiet moment. You catch your reflection in a window, or see a photo someone tags you in, or hear your own voice recorded. Currently my daily struggle. And sometimes it just doesn't land. It's not that you dislike it, it's that it doesn't match how you imagine yourself. There's a mismatch, a quiet dissonance. The person you're looking at seems older than the version in your head, or quieter, or softer, or maybe stronger, more certain. And that's unfamiliar too. This is the disconnect. When your current reality doesn't align with your internal snapshot of who you think you are. And it's not vanity. It's not about surface level image. It's about identity, about the subtle lag between how we've grown and what we've updated. Because here's the thing. Most of us don't update our self-image in real time. We carry around an old blueprint, one shaped years ago, often under pressure, and often through someone else's lens. So when we evolve, but don't revise the image, we end up looking in the mirror and seeing the past, not the present. Segment 2. Who helps build that mirror and what they might have gotten wrong? So let's talk about that blueprint. Who taught you how to see yourself? Not just in the literal mirror, but in your body, your tone, and your worth. Chances are that mirror was built by more than one person. Parents, siblings, teachers, religious leaders, media, maybe a moment in adolescence that stuck harder than it should have. And here's what's important. Those reflections weren't always accurate. They were filtered through other people's pain, preferences, or projections. A parent who saw emotions as weakness taught you to hide your sensitivity. A teacher who dismissed your questions made you think you weren't smart. And a partner who resented your independence made you think you were too much. Those moments stick, and eventually we internalize them. Not because they're true, but because they were repeated. As psychologist Albert Bandura's social learning theory suggests, we learn who we are by watching how others respond to us. But if their lens is distorted, so is our reflection. So we must ask, are you still carrying someone else's version of you? Segment 3. How we confuse familiarity with truth. There's another layer to this. We confuse what's familiar to us with the quote-unquote truth. We say things like, I've always been this way. I've never been good at that. That's just who I am. But is that true? Or is it just that's what you've rehearsed? Cognitive behavioral research shows that the brain favors consistency. It wants your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to match up, even if the pattern isn't healthy. It's called cognitive dissonance reduction. And that's why change feels so jarring, because it threatens the script. So even when we grow, our self-concept doesn't always keep up. We keep defaulting to the identity we've known the longest, even if it's outdated. You might still be thinking like the overachiever, even though you found peace in slowing down, or still bracing like the underdog, even though people now look to you for your leadership. We confuse what we've practiced with what's true. And unless we pause to reintroduce ourselves to ourselves, we stay stuck in the echo of who we used to be. Segment 4, a grounding practice to reflect who you are now, not just who you've been. Let's slow this down with the practice. Find a quiet space, no distractions, and take a breath. Now ask yourself, who am I today? Not who I was in that hard season, not who I became to survive, not who I was told to be. Who am I now, based on my current values, relationships, and daily choices? Write down 5 words that describe your current self, not idealized, just present. Then write 5 words that describe how others used to see you. Compare the two. What's changed? What's still true? This isn't about erasing the past. It's about releasing identities that no longer fit. You're allowed to change your mind about who you are. And you're allowed to become someone new, even if the people who helped shape you wouldn't recognize you anymore. Let your reflection catch up to your reality. That's not ego. That's clarity. As always, thank you for joining me today in the resolution room. I'm grateful you're here doing this work alongside me. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to please share. And until next time, keep building in the quiet because that's what will carry you forward.